Hello, good morning. I hope you are doing well. My name is Janaea Luck with AARP's Virginia State Office, and I'm so happy to join you live on our Facebook and YouTube channels. Today, we are commemorating and honoring Juneteenth. Juneteenth commemorates June 19, 1865, the date when enslaved communities in the state of Texas learned the Civil War had ended and that they were free from slavery. AARP Virginia is really proud to continue our partnership with the Richmond chapter of ASALH, the Association for the Study of Life, African American Life and History. And I'm joined today by two wonderful women, Ms. Michelle Evans Oliver, the president of ASALH, as well as we have Miss Rebecca Pierce, who's also with a local Richmond bakery. And all three of us will share briefly with you our thoughts and how we commemorate Juneteenth. Michelle, I'm going to turn it over to you. Good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to be here today to talk about Juneteenth. I am the president of ASALH, which is the Association for the Study of African American Life and History. It was founded by Carter G. Woodson in 1915, and he was the one who founded Black History Month. So what we do here at ASALH is we try to educate everyone about African American life and history. Today, we're talking about Juneteenth. So Juneteenth is now a national holiday signed in effect yesterday by President Joe Biden. So we're excited about that. And I like to talk about Juneteenth as a whole, and I would also like to talk about the Emancipation Day here in Richmond, Virginia. So, although Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863, the Civil War was then raging, preventing it to become enacted as a national a holiday or a national Freedom Day. So, in on 18, I'm sorry, in Texas was the last to find out about slavery ending. Well, there was a general order on general order number 3 that happened in Galveston, Texas, in June 19th, 1865. And the general order reads: the people of Texas are informed that in accordance with a proclamation from the executive of the United States, all slaves are free. This involves an absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property between former masters and slaves, and the connection theretofore existing between them becomes that between employer and hired labor. The freed men are advised to remain quietly at their present homes and work for wages. They are informed that they will not be allowed to collect at military posts and that they will not be supported in idleness, either there nor elsewhere. General Orders number 3, Headquarters, District of Texas, Galveston, June 19th, 1865. So 1 year later, the first anniversary of Juneteenth happened, or what was known then as Jubilee Day. There was a celebration in Texas in some areas, but it started to spread, and the tradition soon took hold throughout the state. So there were communal barbecues, concerts, prayer services, parades, as well as baseball games, fishing, rodeos, all featured in the festivities. Some of the former enslaved people and their descendants living in far parts of the Texas made a pilgrimage to Galveston, and they were dressed in their best. One of the reasons why they were dressed in their best is because pre 1865, the statewide laws had prevented the enslaved people from dressing in any clothes not given to them by those of who were holding them in slavery. So, in Richmond, Virginia, before that, on April the 3rd, 1865, is what we call our Emancipation Day here in Richmond, Virginia. And the reason why is because that is what we call the fall of Richmond. So Richmond, Virginia actually has, back in the day, parades similar to Galveston, Texas, in the state of Texas. So we're celebrating all over the United States now, and we're excited and happy to be a part of a national celebration for Juneteenth. Thank you so much. We can't hear you, Janaea.
Thank you so much, Michelle, and thank you for sharing the wonderful history. I do know that even here in Virginia, we might not have as elaborate celebrations as what's planned for in Texas and especially in Galveston. But I know that all of us, we can dress in our own finest attire and really just celebrate with our loved ones and friends and family, hopefully this weekend. Also, we know that in our African American tradition, food was very important. So, again, Rebecca, can you share a little bit about the history and the traditional foods that were possibly eaten during Juneteenth?
Sure, absolutely. I'm very excited to be here. I'm Rebecca Pierce, coming to you from Maggie's Cupcake Cafe. I'm the chief bakeologist here. And what we did was I decided to present to you three variations of dishes, desserts that you would have possibly found at a Juneteenth celebration. And again, this is important because what the participants would do was to try to bring foods that were the colors of the colors that represented the spirit of the African American. So you would have a red dish, something green, and of course, black would be for the presence of African Americans that were attending the gala. So one of the things that you might have seen at a Juneteenth celebration is what we call a tea cake. These are tea cake cookies. And although it's not red and it's not necessarily green, the tea cake was a staple actually in many of the homes that many of the slaves ran. And even though they may not have had access to sugar as part of the rations that they were given, they would use molasses and lard to make these cookies, which would also become known as biscuits. And so if when it adorned the table of the masters, it would also be a staple dish that the slaves would bring and make at home or in their quarters, and would also bring to a celebration. With the tea cake, they would have tea or some drink infused with hibiscus, so some sort of red punch or drink to accompany the tea cake cookie. And it's a beautiful cookie. I've updated it a little bit in that they would not have necessarily been had access to spices like necessarily nutmeg and almond extract. So I've updated the cookie a little bit, and I've added that to the cookie to give it more of a modern spin, because today we would actually kind of call this cookie, if we added cinnamon, the snickerdoodle, right? The next big thing that you would see at the table would, of course, be a red velvet cake. And that red velvet cake would be adorned with berries. So you would have raspberry, blueberries, blackberries, strawberry, whatever fruit they had accessible to them and that they wanted to adorn their cake with. And what a lot of people don't know is that the original red velvet cake, to get the color red, they would make it with beet powder, right? Ugh, who knew? But there was no red food coloring or red gel at the time. So the cake would be made with a beet powder, and it was a very laborious task, okay? Understand that we didn't have stoves then, so much of this would be made over a hearth oven, a very heavy, big oven that was fireplace that was very dangerous to cook with because of its proximity to catching clothes on fire. So you would have this beautiful red velvet cake. Hopefully I can get this out because I've had this in the freezer for y'all. Look at that. That's what your red velvet cake would look like. And of course, today I used red gel instead of red food coloring. The next dish you might have is a modern spin on the watermelon. This is the watermelon cupcake. Yes, they do exist, right? So you might have a watermelon cake, or as we made last week, we made a watermelon pie. You can check that out on our Instagram page. But the watermelon, you would always have a watermelon, which is a staple fruit that comes from Africa. Most of the dishes, most of the dishes, including the fruits, were staples that many of the slaves remembered from back home. And so you would have a watermelon. And so it'd either be a watermelon cake or it'd be watermelon cupcakes. And today, I've of course spun that around and made the watermelon pie. And then finally, you would have your berry dish. This is, of course, has mint in it, but you would find a dish that had a combination of strawberries and raspberries and blackberries and blueberries, and they would, add, like their mint if they had it. If not, it would just be, plain. They would make a whipped cream, which is made out of heavy milk, whipping cream, and they would enjoy the time together after eating, of course, the main protein dishes. They would settle down and feel alive by having a dessert. And that, I want to encourage you though, also, one of the ways to learn more about it is to read High on the Hog. If you haven't seen the documentary on Netflix, I recommend you get the book, which gives you a great history into the food that slaves not only brought here, but also enhanced to create the modern American cuisine. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. It was really lovely. So awesome to see those dishes. And you are truly gifted in the kitchen. It is wonderful. I love the watermelon cupcakes. And actually, I have a watermelon. I might get in the kitchen this afternoon. Wonderful. Well, again, it is truly an honor and pleasure to continue our community partnership with the Richmond chapter of ASALH. ASALH, again, Michelle, is a nationwide organization, right? Can you tell us a little bit more about how people can find more about what you do and your members, and how we can encourage young people to get involved in learning more about African American history?
Sure. Well, we are brand new here in the Richmond, Virginia area, but that doesn't mean that we haven't been working. You can find us on Facebook. And so it is ASALH, ASALHRVA. And if you do a Facebook search, you will find us and you'll see all of our programs that we have. We have Sunday sit-ins. We also are bringing in a new program for it's brand new, and we're working on it now in the September of this year. And we also have meetings. We also have a national conference that it will be in September, which is coming up pretty soon. And that is filled with lots of information regarding African American history, old and new. So if you want to get in contact with us, you can go email us at asalhrvainfo@gmail.com. Thank you so much, Janaea, for allowing me to do that today.
Michelle, how can we can find out and maybe even see your PowerPoint about Juneteenth on your Facebook page, correct?
Yes, we have a Juneteenth PowerPoint that we have put together specifically for today. It's a collage of pictures regarding Juneteenth. I actually have the actual order that was written in 1865, and a collage of pictures from Richmond and from Texas. So look forward to that on the Facebook page as well.
Very nice, Michelle. I just know that we are working through technical difficulties, but I just want to make sure that we give you the opportunity to share and help encourage more families to take a moment to reflect on Juneteenth. And Rebecca, we tell a little bit about how we can find more about your recipes and your work in history? You want to just put that in the chat? There is a chat function here that if you want to put that in the chat, ladies, you can do that. Rebecca?
Well, Maggie's Cupcake Cafe, we're on Facebook under the same name, as well as Instagram, Maggie's Cupcake Cafe. And then you can go to our website and find out what desserts we have for delivery in the Richmond, Petersburg area, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And we are offering, of course, our lovely red velvet cake and watermelon cupcakes to several vendors, such as Mama Shell's Cafe and the Queen Bee Tea Room here in Richmond, where you can pick up our desserts. And so we're really excited about what we're doing, and we're continuing to expand the African American cuisine. These are all made from scratch. That's what we do here. We make everything from scratch, with the exception of pie crust, because I ain't got time for pie crust.
Time is of the essence. And that brings us to a close for our Facebook Live. Thank you so much, Rebecca. And thank you again, Michelle, for sharing your Friday morning with us, but most importantly, encouraging everyone to take a moment to reflect on our history and our ancestors, and just wear some red, black, and green, or dress up a little bit today or tomorrow. Juneteenth is tomorrow, but we want to encourage you to do that this weekend. So again, thank you for joining us and have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.